What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NBA podcast. It's been a little bit since we've done one of these. Welcome back. We got Dustin on the show. What's up, Dustin?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you on. I'm your host, Alex Leak. NBA podcast 2020 NBA playoffs preview. The playoffs start tomorrow at 1:30. So we can't wait to get into this and talk about the series that we're going to see. I mean, the bubble was pretty incredible. What do you think? I mean, we saw some pretty impressive performances in the last couple days.
Yeah, it was interesting to see them in the bubble. I didn't think they were going to play as hard with the fans not being in attendance, but I was wrong. There was a few surprises out there.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. You got Damian Lillard going off. Giannis and the Bucks doing their thing. Kawhi and the Clippers, LeBron 80 and the Lakers, of course, have all the hype.
TJ Warren coming from out of nowhere.
Yeah, TJ Warren going off. Karis LeVert for the Brooklyn Nets carrying the team. But let's get into this. So, in the East, the 1-8 matchup, the Milwaukee Bucks against the Orlando Magic. The Bucks 3-5 in the bubble in the restart, and the Magic went 2-5. So neither team was playing at their best, but Giannis gets suspended for the last game of the bubble for a headbutt. So that's going to be something to watch. Hopefully Giannis can keep his composure and not get one of those headbutts or technical fouls or flagrants that get him suspended for a game in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's the most important player on the Bucks, so without him, the Bucks would be out in the first round.
Yeah. And then can the Bucks defense get back to the way they were pre-pandemic? I mean, they were one of the best in basketball, and they've been allowing 110 points per game in the bubble. For the Magic, they lose power forward Jonathan Isaac with a torn ACL, so that's a big loss. Nikola Vucevic and Aaron Gordon will have to step up in his absence. What do you think about this series, Bucks Magic? You think this is a pretty easy first series for Milwaukee?
I do. I see it being 4-0 just because the Magic don't have enough firepower to be able to keep up with Giannis, Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, and all of them.
Yeah. An underrated part of them, too, is the Lopez brothers on that team. And then I think Jonathan Isaac's a big loss. He's one of those guys with size and quick feet that he can actually somewhat guard Giannis a little bit and make his life difficult. Without Jonathan Isaac, who's going to defend Giannis on that team?
Yeah, there's not really anybody on that team that can really defend him.
Yeah. My only worry on the Bucks, I think this goes 4 games, 5 at worst against Orlando. But my worry about Milwaukee isn't the first round. It's can they get out of the East? I think you would agree this is the year that Giannis needs to prove that he can get this team out of the East. They should be the favorites, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do see them going out of the East, but that was only because I only see one challenger for them, and that's the Knicks. Excuse me. The Boston Celtics.
Okay. What do you think? I agree that the Celtics are pretty good. What do you think about the Raptors, though? The Raptors have looked pretty good, even despite losing Kawhi Leonard after last year.
Yeah, the Raptors are the second seed, but I still feel in the playoffs they're not going to have as much star power as a team like the Celtics with Jaylen Brown and Tatum and
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll have to see if Kyle Lowry can, lead the team in the playoffs and if Pascal Siakam can continue to play.
They do have defense, though. That is one thing that Raptors do have.
Yeah, and surprisingly really good coaching. I was sleeping on Nick Nurse, but he's actually a pretty good coach.
Yeah, he's done a great job in Toronto.
So speaking of that, the Raptors, the 2-7 seed Raptors Nets. The Raptors went 6-1 in the restart. The Nets 5-3. I mean, the Nets playing without Kyrie Irving, no Kevin Durant, no Spencer Dinwiddie, all opted out of the restart. So Karis LeVert has really stepped up. But how do you see this Raptors Nets series going? Do you think that's a sweep or five games? What do you think?
I think this one is also a 4-0 sweep. Because, again, they're kind of like Orlando. All they really have is Karis LeVert, somebody who can score and everything, but I don't really see anybody else on their current roster that is going to be able to help them out.
You know, a sneaky option that could, I know he's old, but he always can get hot, is Jamal Crawford.
That is true. I love Jamal Crawford.
Yeah.
And also, you know, they do have a good defender for when they do make it far. And is DeAndre Jordan playing?
That I'm not sure. He might have opted out. They had so many guys opt out. I'm gonna have to look that up. But I mean I do see it going 5 games, 6 at the most. I think it could go 5 games. I think Brooklyn can get 1, but I do like what the Raptors have been doing, especially after losing Kawhi.
It's been really impressive.
Yeah. DeAndre Jordan opted out. So he's another one that's not playing for the Nets.
Yeah, he's definitely a baller sweep because Karis LeVert can't do it by himself.
Yeah. Karis LeVert, maybe like Joe Harris, but they don't have a lot there. So many guys opted out. All right, Celtics Sixers, the 3-6. This would be a hell of a series if not for Ben Simmons being out with a knee. This puts a lot more pressure on Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and Al Horford. I believe Horford is playing. Now, what's your take? Do you think this is a possibility? Like, I was listening to Chuck and Charles Barkley and Shaq talk about this, and they said there's a way that the Sixers could come out of this with a win if Joel Embiid plays to his potential and is the best player on the court. Do you think that if Embiid does play to his potential, then the Sixers could pull the upset over Boston?
Yes, that is a very good possibility because, you know, you can't think on guys like Tobias Harris and then, you know, other guys. And Ben Simmons, you know, is obviously big, but Joel Embiid playing to his potential can definitely get them out of the first round.
Yeah, that's the key word is his potential because, in my opinion, he's a throwback. Like, he's got a little bit of that old school center, old school rim protector type mindset. And if he can get it going on both sides of the ball and lead the team like he's supposed to, who knows what this team could do. What's your thoughts? I know you were saying Boston can go pretty far. Kemba, you know, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, do you think the Celtics are the team that can beat Milwaukee?
I do.
It's gonna be interesting. That's one of the series I'm looking forward to the most. Celtics Sixers. I've got that going 6 or 7 games. What do you think on the outcome of that series?
The outcome of the Boston and the Bucks series?
No, Boston, Philly, first round.
Oh, Boston and Philly. I'm gonna go with 4-2. I think the Sixers steal a couple games because I think Embiid is gonna have 2 good games because you can't shut him down for 4 games in a row. That's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, and Boston doesn't really have a big defender in the paint. Like, Embiid should be able to eat.
But Simmons being out really hurts Philly because that's their best player.
Yeah. Tobias Harris really needs to step up. Al Horford. So we'll see. I'm not a huge Simmons guy, but taking him off that roster is a big deal. Going to the 4 or 5 seed in the East, Pacers Heat. The Pacers 5-2 in the restart. The Heat 3-4. No Domantas Sabonis for the Pacers. but they do have Victor Oladipo back, and like you mentioned, T.J. Warren. Jimmy Butler and T.J. Warren have a history and a feud that goes back a little ways. So Butler is going to need to stay on top of his emotions. Don't hurt the team in any way. Don't get yourself kicked out. What do you think? This is one of the better series in the East. Pacers Heat, the 4-5. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I think this one could be one of the first ones that go 6 or 7.
Yep.
Especially with the return of Victor Oladipo, which is huge for Indiana.
Yeah. I've always been an Oladipo fan, going back to college.
Yeah, me too.
But, yeah, that should be awesome. So what's your prediction on that? I've actually got the Heat, the 5 seed, taking this in 6 or 7 games. Do you agree with that?
Oh, you have the Heat in 6 or 7?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Indiana Pacers.
Okay. I like it.
I feel like they have more guys that are able to score more than the Heat do. I mean, you got T.J. McConnell who distributes the ball coming off the bench. Then you have a good player in Miles Turner. Aaron Holiday, I've seen him go off in the bubble. And then, you got Doug McDermott.
Yeah.
T.J. Warren is playing his butt off right now.
Yeah, if he can continue that into the playoffs, that'll be huge for Indy. I'll admit I haven't watched a lot of Miami this year, but I'm just going off of star power, and I like Jimmy Butler, so that's about where I'm going with that. But should be a hell of a series. I think we both agree on that.
Yeah, like you said, Butler has to keep his emotions intact, which seems hard for him to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's stick in the East here. Let's say, all right, so you had the Bucks winning, and you got the Pacers, right?
Yep.
So Bucks-Pacers second round. How do you think that goes?
I am going to go 4-2 Milwaukee.
Okay. And then Raptors, let's see, Raptors-Celtics, is that what you have, 2-3?
Yes.
Well, how's that go?
That one's going to go to 7 games.
Okay. And you think Boston takes that one?
I do think Boston takes it.
I think that's a really good series, too. I'd watch a lot of that series because Toronto trying to prove they can do it without Kawhi, and Boston with Kemba and the young, Tatum, Jaylen Brown. That would be a hell of a series. So that puts it at Bucks Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals for you. And who do you have coming out of the East?
This one is going to be another close one. I see this one going 6.
Okay.
But ultimately, I think it's going to be Milwaukee because Giannis has to come out of the East. With him being a potential MVP and everything, this could make his career be even better. Yeah, he's in the running for MVP and Defensive Player of the Year this year, which is something not done since Hakeem Olajuwon in '94. So that would be pretty incredible. And to cap it off with getting the Bucks into the finals would be pretty incredible. He should win MVP. There's no argument there. He should.
Yeah, he absolutely should. Yeah, absolutely. So for me, let's look at it. So I've got Heat instead of Pacers. So Heat Bucks. I got the Bucks in that. Raptors Celtics. We got the same there. I'm gonna go Raptors over Celtics. So we're gonna differ on that. So then I've got Raptors Bucks, and I'm gonna surprise you here. I'm gonna take the Raptors to come out of the East.
Nice pick. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's just I feel like at the end of the day, Milwaukee would have been the better team.
Yeah, Milwaukee's got the most talent in the East. I agree with that. It's can Giannis step up and play his best basketball in the playoffs in the biggest moments and take that next step. I mean, they were up pretty big on the Sixers last year, and to be honest, or not on the Sixers, on the Raptors. And to be honest, the Bucks, you could make an argument, should have been in the finals last year.
Yeah, it always. Giannis doesn't. Some games in the playoffs, you don't play his best either.
Yeah. Well, you know how it gets defensively. Like, defenses take away your best option in the playoffs and make you adjust. And I feel like defenses have, when they really go at Giannis with everything they've got and make him adjust, he's not as effective.
Yep, I totally agree.
So we'll see. It's a big prove-it year for Giannis, and a big prove-it year for the Raptors and Embiid. So I'm so excited we get to actually watch the playoffs this year.
It would still be cool though to see, the Raptors and then, the Clippers making Kawhi and his former team.
Yeah, yep. And we'll talk about that in a little bit here coming up. But let's go to the Western Conference now. The 1-8. I know you're going to have shit to say about this one. Lakers-Blazers. The Lakers under 500 in the restart, 3-5. Meanwhile, the Blazers 6-2 in the restart to get into the playoffs. Now, I agree the Lakers have had the 1 seed locked up, so it didn't really matter what their restart record was. It's just about getting into the playoffs, being healthy, and being ready to go. But Portland comes in red hot. Damian Lillard been going off for 40 and 50-point games. So that's going to be crazy. What's your thoughts here? Do you think Portland has a shot at upsetting the Lakers in the first round?
I absolutely do believe Portland has a shot at beating the Lakers, especially with the way that Damian has been playing. And not to mention, Melo's had the best year since he's been on New York.
Yeah. And CJ McCollum, too.
And Nurkic came back off of his injury and was playing well for the year.
He was killing it. I think he led the bubble in rebounds.
Yeah, so I believe they're the most dangerous opponent to the Lakers. If the Lakers go into first 1 or 2 games and not play their hardest, the Trailblazers will steal.
Yeah, I agree. This is two strengths versus weaknesses. Like, you've got Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, a nasty backcourt, and the Lakers can't defend that backcourt. I'll say that right now. No Avery Bradley really hurts them. Rondo being hurt, we'll see how effective he is if he gets back on the court. That backcourt of Lillard and McCollum are going to go off. But I don't see the Blazers really having an answer for LeBron and AD. So I think this is high scoring, back and forth, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's 2-2 going into Game 5.
Yeah, but the Lakers don't have that third person besides LeBron and AD. Kyle Kuzma could step up and be that man, but I think Portland's gonna steal one because they don't have the third option.
That is a big question mark, and I do believe it's a prove-it year for Kuzma as well. And so we'll see if Kuzma can step into that third option and really help out the team, because I agree they do need that other guy. And we'll see. Last time we saw LeBron turn on playoff mode, the team didn't make the playoffs. So now he's in the 1 seed. He's got the pressure on his back, championship expectations. We'll see if he can turn it on.
LeBron definitely needs this.
Yeah, he needs. Every year is precious because that 3-6 record isn't going anywhere. He needs to get it respectable. 5-6 still doesn't look that good, I don't think.
3-6 doesn't look that good. And some of the teams he's lost to in the past were teams that had star players, but they also didn't either.
Yeah, who did Dallas have besides Dirk? An old Jason Kidd, an old Sean Marion?
Yeah, to me, those guys were destined to win, though. That was like destiny for them guys to win. But
yeah, once Jason Terry got that tattoo of the O'Brien trophy, you knew it was over.
Yeah, Terry actually went off in that series. That was crazy.
Yeah. Yep. So Lakers, Blazers, you see it going 6 or 7?
Yeah, I do see it going 6 or 7, but I ultimately I'm going to choose the Lakers at the end of the day.
I am too. I agree with that. I think it goes 7 games, but I do have the Lakers in 7. But if it does go 7, that's going to be considered quite the wake-up call to the Lakers.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them if they go 7, because, I mean, you know, the Blazers are still young and everything, and they want it bad.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, the potential for who the Lakers might have to face is like worst-case scenario. You're talking a hot Blazers team, potentially Westbrook and Harden Rockets, who are dangerous as hell, and then the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. If it all works out, I mean, that would be quite the road to get to the finals.
Yeah, it would be best for them if they sweep the Blazers, or at least take them to 5.
Yeah.
So they're rest in between those games, because, you know, some of those other teams could take them to 7 again.
Yep. I agree, and I'm going to go ahead and say that series goes at least 6 games. Portland's too good. The thing that sucks for the Lakers is Portland shouldn't be an 8 seed. They should be more like a 5 or 6, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Let's look at the Clippers and Mavs, the 2-7. Kawhi Leonard, the reigning Finals MVP. Someone's got to not, dethrone him. PG-13, Patrick Beverly. That's a really good defense there. Let's look at Mavs. Let's look at the Mavs side of the ball here. Hold on just a second. Yeah, I mean, so the Clippers are my favorite to come out of the West. But Dallas can be a threat to the Clippers. I mean, Luka Doncic has been killing it. Do you think the Mavs could give the Clippers a little bit of a problem in the first round?
Yeah, it's going to be good. This was one of the intriguing matchups for me, because, Dallas has 2 young stars that are really good players.
Yeah.
The Clippers have defense and, 2 veterans who, when they're both playing great basketball, are almost unstoppable.
Yeah. It's going to be, I mean, the Clippers need to get it together right off the bat. There's no room for sleepwalking to start this playoffs, because Dallas can bring it, and they can get a win in the first 2, and then it's 1-1, and anything can happen. So,
yeah, the PG-13 is so inconsistent.
Yeah, but the most important thing to me is LeBron and Kawhi turning it on, and Giannis, the big ultimate stars, seeing how they turn it on once playoff mode is activated. And like what Kawhi did last year in the playoffs and in the finals, if he does that again this year, I don't think anybody's beating him.
No, and yeah, they're ultimately my, pick eventually to come out of the West.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a case for any one of these big-name stars. You could throw in Anthony Davis in there, too. If they get going and are playing at their potential, at their absolute greatest ability, there's no one can stop them, and they can lead a team to a championship on their own. I'm talking Kawhi. LeBron can still potentially do it, even at his age. Giannis, obviously, and then Anthony Davis on the same team,
Yeah, and you have to think about, what a championship this year would mean for some of those guys. A championship this year would definitely put LeBron closer to, him potentially being one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah. And
Giannis, that I belong here, I'm a top player type of, thing. That would help him if he won a chip.
Absolutely. There's a lot on the line. So there's people, or certain media have been floating around this asterisk season, asterisk championship. It doesn't matter. It's the pandemic year, so it's chaos, and it doesn't matter. I disagree 100%. Anytime you lace them up and you've got all these stars on the court, it matters. And it's about egos, and it's about legacy. And for the Lakers, they want to win it so badly because this is the year that, unfortunately, Kobe passed. So the Lakers are trying to do it for Kobe. Giannis is trying to do it for respect. LeBron's trying to do it for his legacy. Anthony Davis, his playoff legacy is not that good. He's trying to change that narrative.
Yeah, and there's another guy we're missing, and that's James Harden.
Yeah, absolutely. Harden and Westbrook, can they get out of the West and finally get a ring? And then the one that no one's talking about is Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, because if Kawhi won last year with Toronto, that had never won a championship, and then he goes and wins this year with the Clippers, who have never won a championship, what does that do to his legacy?
Man, that has to put him up here because that'll be what, number 4 already, and he's still a young player.
Yeah. Is that number 4 or is that number... I think it's number 3.
I thought he won 2 with San Antonio, maybe not.
Maybe he won... I think... No, just 1 with San Antonio.
Oh, yeah,
because of Ray Allen.
Yeah,
Yeah. But, I mean, still, that would be incredible. So, a lot of narratives, and I completely push back on the asterisk. I think there's a lot on the line.
CP3 too, man. I mean, over in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, what he's been doing over there is incredible. I thought once he left Houston and goes to OKC, I'm like, Chris Paul's going to be forgotten about now. Not the case.
He needs a ring like soon, man.
Yeah.
He can go down as a top 7 point guard of all time, but the only thing separating him from that would be a championship ring.
Yep. He'll be in that John Stockton category. Not quite, but you know what I'm saying. Pretty damn good. So let's go to the 3-6, the Nuggets Jazz, which I think this is a hell of a series. I got the Nuggets in 7. Jokic, Jamal Murray, even Michael Porter Jr., pretty good talent over there in Denver. And then if you look at the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, a big loss losing Boban Bogdanovic. I would normally pick the Jazz in this in like 6 or 7, but because of no Bogdanovic, I'm going Denver in 7 games. What do you think?
I'm going Denver in 6.
Okay.
Just because of the play of Michael Porter Jr., he's really surprised me in the bubble this season.
Yeah, 100%. I was in Seattle when he was in high school and holding out and all that drama, and they were saying, oh, he's soft, he's never going to make it in the NBA. Man, the talent's always been there, and he's really starting to show it.
Yeah, his first year he was injured, so he really couldn't show anything.
Yeah, but yeah, it's nice to see him getting out there and playing to the best of his abilities. So you got Denver, I got Denver. Going to the 4-5 in the West, a great series, Rockets-Thunder. So many storylines in this. Westbrook versus OKC, Chris Paul versus the Rockets and James Harden. Harden versus OKC. No Westbrook for, quote, a few games. That's a big loss, and that could really hurt the Rockets' chances. But like you said, a lot is on James Harden, and even more pressure, more weight on his shoulders to carry the Rockets until Westbrook gets back.
Yeah, that's tough, man. But Harden's going to flop in the playoffs, and
Yeah.
Westbrook is obviously the second best player on the team, but he is the guy who would score when Harden doesn't, and I don't really know if they have another major scorer who can keep them in these games.
Yeah. Part of me thinks what surprised me the most about watching this restart and the games in the bubble is the Rockets playing some defense. I never thought I'd see the day, but they were actually playing pretty good defense, and guys like PJ Tucker and those guys, they've been really defending at a decent level.
Yeah, that surprised me very well too.
Yeah, it's nice to see. You don't see that usually out of a D'Antoni coach team. Looking at OKC, I mean, anytime you've got Chris Paul, you're a threat, and especially in the playoffs. And then you know, looking with Dennis Schroeder and Gilgeous Alexander in that backcourt, I completely wrote the Thunder off to start the year, but it wouldn't surprise me, especially if Westbrook's set to miss a few, if the Thunder come in here and upset the Rockets in like 7 games. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's very well possible. But like I said, the Rockets are down, with their second best player, the person who, was their second leading scorer. So
Yeah.
when you have a sneaky, quiet team nobody's talking about, history shows that they can really do some damage.
Yep. So I'll tell you this, I'm like torn because my head says Thunder in 7, but my heart wants the Rockets in 6 or 7 because I don't want to watch Thunder Lakers. I want to watch Rockets Lakers in the second round. So I'm pulling for Houston big time, but it's the question mark is purely on James Harden.
Yeah, I'm in the same place because I'm a big Harden fan. I'd like to see him, advance and finally create his legacy. But, without Westbrook, man, I'm going to have to also go with that big OKC.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know watching the Rockets deep in the playoffs. It's some of the best basketball to watch. Remember those Rockets Warriors series a couple years in a row?
Yeah, those were good.
Yeah, so we'll see. Huh?
That 1 year, man, Game 7, the Rockets took 8-0.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that's the narrative on Harden. Going back to the Spurs series, going back to those Warriors series of not being able to get it done when the pressure is at its most. So we'll see. Let's look at the second round. So I've got Lakers. You know what? For the hell of it, I'm going to say Rockets in 7. I'm going to switch that up because I don't want to talk about Thunder Lakers. I want Rockets Lakers. So I'm saying Thunder or Lakers Rockets in the second round. If that's the case, I think that's a very dangerous series for the Lakers. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Rockets beat the Lakers in the second round.
Oh, absolutely not, because like we had said earlier, the Lakers could be coming off a hard series against the Trailblazers and then having to go up against right away against a good Rockets team that's better than the Trailblazers that could definitely take them out.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be the best series to watch, Rockets-Lakers. If it's Thunder-Lakers like you predicted, do you see OKC giving LA any chance of, any trouble?
No, I don't.
Me neither. I see that going like 5 games at worst.
Which is why I kind of would just rather, talk about the Lakers and Houston because it has the potential for a big upset.
Yeah, that's what we all want. So go Rockets. We're going to be cheering for the Rockets big time in the first round. And hopefully Westbrook gets back soon because I don't trust Harden. Looking at, so Clippers advance over Dallas. We agree with that. You've got Nuggets, right? I've got Nuggets too.
Yep.
So Clippers Nuggets. Can Denver give the Clippers a scare and potentially upset them, or do you think the Clippers are able to get through that?
I think the Clippers are able to get through that pretty quickly. I'd say Game 5 and it's over.
Yeah. I could see it going 6. I think we sleep on Denver a little bit, but I'm with you. I trust the Clippers to get out of that series. So then...
It's going to be, quick. Like, Clippers will go up like 2-0 and then... they'll steal one, Denver will, and then it'll be over from there.
Yeah. So then we're looking at either a Clippers-Lakers, which we've been talking Clippers-Lakers conference finals all year long. If how it's mixed up, we could have Clippers-Rockets, which would again be a hell of a series, and I'm taking Clippers all day in that one. Do you agree? If it's Clippers-Rockets, are you riding with the Clippers?
I am riding with the Clippers just because, I don't see anybody on that team being able to stop Kawhi or George if they're both, on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zubac is underrated, and Patrick Beverly and these guys, Lou Williams. That's a loaded roster for the Clippers. So let's say, for the hell of it, we all expect Lakers Clippers. That's going back to when the pandemic all started. I said all I want out of 2020 is a 7-game Laker Clippers series. So that's what I'm rooting for. And I think that no matter what, that's going 7 games. Do you agree? I think they're really evenly matched up.
I do think, but, my heart wants it to only go 6 just because you know how I feel about the Lakers and LeBron.
Yeah, you don't want it to get to a Game 7,
But, me being the sports person and stuff that I do, I gotta be honest, I do see it going 7 because it's going to go back and forth,
Yeah. Well, what worries me, if you get to a Game 7 with the Lakers, I feel like they're going to get some of those close calls. I feel like LeBron and AD, it's the Lakers, it's that star power, they're going to get the calls, and I don't want the Clippers facing a Game 7 with the Lakers with that on my mind.
Yeah, it's not even on the college. LeBron, he tends to, play well in Game 7s.
He really does. That's a good point. He does seem to step up in Game 7s. Now, once it's the finals, that could be a different story. But, yeah, I agree with you there. So, I'm really rooting for Rockets-Lakers in the second round because I actually believe the Rockets, of all the teams out west, have the best shot of upsetting the Lakers. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, most definitely.
The Clippers match up well, but I actually think a red-hot James Harden getting the calls and Westbrook, I think the Rockets could surprise them.
Yeah, James Harden is known to get them calls and go to the free throw line. So.
Yeah, more than anyone in the history of the game, pretty much.
And then step back 30, man. That's the best step back 30 out the high numbers.
Yeah, I just wish he would use less than 3 steps to do some of those.
Yeah, that's questionable at times, I guess.
I sound like an old fan, but I'm not as old as I sound, but I hate the traveling shit.
Yeah, and back to the Clippers and Lakers thing.
Yeah.
LeBron doesn't fare well sometimes against Kawhi Leonard. I remember in that series, Kawhi held LeBron pretty good back when they played San Antonio, and that was when Kawhi was young.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. You put Kawhi versus LeBron in the biggest stage. I'm riding Kawhi at this point in their careers.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But then it's the surrounding pieces. Do the Clippers match up? Can they contain Anthony Davis, who we'll see about playoff Anthony Davis, but you've seen all season long his potential.
Yeah, I don't think they can contain him 100%, but I think they can slow him down because I think, if you put a Montrezl Harrell on him, somebody of that type,
yeah,
you can slow him down, but you're not stopping him.
Someone we're not talking about, but I gotta bring up his name, is Joakim Noah. I think Noah can play some decent minutes in that series against AD.
Yeah, I forgot they had Noah. Yeah, most definitely. I love Joakim Noah. He used to be my favorite player for the Bulls.
Yeah, me too. There's no beating Derrick Rose, but Joakim Noah was a close second. He's always been one of my favorite players.
Yeah, and he brings energy like nobody.
Energy, veteran leadership, effort on the court, yeah.
Can run the court like a point guard.
Yep, good passer, great rim protector. So
it's gonna be good, man.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's all I want is that series, Clippers Lakers, best of 7. That'll make my 2020 complete. If I get that series and then the full NFL season, then I got no complaints. So, all right. So Clippers coming out of the West. We agreed there. You got the Bucks. I got the Raptors. Can either the Bucks or the Raptors beat the Clippers in a 7-game series for the championship, or is Kawhi winning his second in a row?
I think Kawhi takes his second in a row.
Man, that would be incredible. Like,
And
yeah.
when he does, they better start putting him in the conversations, because every time people in the conversation, I don't hear Kawhi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all LeBron and Giannis and Anthony Davis and James Harden. People love to sleep on Kawhi, and I agree, if he wins back-to-back, he takes Finals MVP again, beats this Lakers team, beats Giannis or whoever, you got to give Kawhi his due. And what a hell of a finals series it would be. Clippers-Raptors, Kawhi going against his old team, and his old team trying to beat Kawhi.
Yeah, that would be, good. And I mean, it's happened before, but this year it'd be a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, either way, I can't wait. It's going to be a hell of a playoff. Thanks for coming on, Dustin. Good shit as always. I mean, I'm so amped for this playoffs to start tomorrow at 1:30. I'm going to be watching basketball for the next, couple months straight.
Yeah, man. When do they start the regular season after all this is over again?
That I'm not even sure. I don't even know if they know. I've heard they were talking about pushing it back to December.
Oh, yeah, well.
Maybe they'll start, Christmas Day,
Yeah, which would be nice.
Yeah, I remember when they started Christmas Day after the strike, or the holdout. Back in the day.
I'm just ready for this, man. I'm ready for some excitement, because Lord knows we need it.
Hell yeah, we need some distraction, we need sports on the TV, and I'm going to be watching these playoffs non-stop. So, thanks for coming on, Dustin. Good stuff.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always great content. Appreciate the support, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. We'll keep these episodes coming out. Have a good one. Peace out.